Hello, this is Pastor Matthew Woods from Grace Lutheran Church in New Albany, Indiana, and this is the weekly devotion for August 11th, 2025. Today's title, Walking with God. Well, Trish and I, my wife and I, are big hikers. We don't go as much as we'd like, but when we get the chance, we like to go as much as possible. Our favorite place to date is easily Alaska. Went back there in 21. Everything there makes you feel small. It's magnificent, and vast. We saw a great deal of wildlife. We saw grizzly bears, moose, reindeer. We saw mountain goats. We saw whales, eagles, various little critters too. Now, as I record this, in fact, we are anticipating a trip to New River Gorge in West Virginia. And one of the major landmarks there is the New River Gorge Bridge, which is the longest span of steel in the Western Hemisphere. It is also the third highest bridge in the country at 867 feet, or I'm sorry, 876 feet, and the bridge is 3,030 feet long. And guess what? We signed up for a walk on the catwalk that goes right underneath the deck of that bridge at 851 feet, with nothing below us but one little stretch of metal and a harness to keep us strapped in. Uh, we love it. You know, we like walking, we like seeing new sights. And by the way, on this bridge, I'll let you know when I get back how it went, because it's a little high, right? A little tall, but we're looking forward to it. And looking forward to seeing the sights, especially the river and the other sites way below. But stay tuned. I will share what goes on then next week. At any rate, our greatest joy is being outdoors and walking with each other and sharing that experience with one another. That's our favorite thing. And we look forward to sharing that experiences with one another and now with you next time when we get back. I'll talk about that. For now, I want to talk about walking with God. And first, we ask the question, what does it mean? Well, the answer is really one of character and of faith. Genesis 6 gives us an interesting picture of what it looks like in the person of Noah. Starting at verse 9, we are told Noah was a righteous man, blameless among the people of his time, and walked faithfully with God. Noah had 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. Now, the earth was corrupt in God's sight and was full of violence. God saw how corrupt the earth had become, for all the people of the earth had corrupted their ways. So God said to Noah, I am going to put an end to all people, for the earth is filled with violence because of them. I am surely going to destroy both them and the earth. So make yourself an ark of cypress wood. I'm going to bring flood waters on the earth to destroy all life under the heavens, every creature that has breath of life in it. Everything on earth will perish, but I will establish my covenant with you, and you will enter the ark, you and your sons and your wife and your sons, your wife and your sons' wives with you. And of course, they took the animals two by two, of course, one of every kind. Now, when we walk on hikes, we are close together in more ways than one, in proximity and in company and in fellowship. We joke, we talk, we listen. When Trish and I walk, we throw out ideas and dreams and what ifs, and while all the same time taking in the beauty of all of that stuff around us, all the trees and wilderness and so on. Every so often, it means always that we also have to overcome an obstacle or two on the trail. Occasionally, some of the trails we've been on will turn into a complete climb, and you'll have to climb up boulders and even use the ropes that are provided there to get up the trail. But ultimately, it's fellowship and it's intimacy. It is a shared sense of things unique one to another in what was shared. Trish and I have that on our hikes, and we enjoy that. And that's probably the part we enjoy most. Walking with the Lord means knowing the Lord in a similar fashion, being in proximity with the Lord through his word, sharing your thoughts, his desires, his desires, admiring the beauty of all things that he has created, and giving credit where credit is due to our Creator. It means knowing God's mindset, his character, and his way, which is shared in his word with us. It means listening and talking together. And it's a mindset of walking with the Lord. That also means like an anticipating, looking forward to something, sharing that future together. It does require one, however, to be deliberate. When we go on hikes, we plan them very carefully because schedules mostly, time is limited. But likewise, walking with the Lord is not just something that automated happens so easy to do, whereas always something you just happens without thought. It just isn't random. A lot of times when we live the lives that we do, you have to take time in the Lord. You have to be deliberate because the stuff of life is going to get in the way. It just does with anyone. It has to be a priority to get away, to be with the Lord, to walk with the Lord. It has to be a conscious and deliberate thing that we do. And yet one would hope that it would feel more like going on vacation in the process, somewhere exciting, somewhere where you can wonder and look at the amazing things around us. In the same way, to see him a little more clearly, looking forward to sharing with him just a little bit more, to have that lifestyle with him, and to know that it's shared with the Lord. That's a walking with the Lord that we're hoping for, and it's something that we had until Adam and Eve, of course, didn't walk with the Lord. They decided to go their own way, and of course, we know the rest, fell to sin. But have you ever been on a trip with the family and then come back and excitedly told others about your trip where you've been? Maybe we've even gone on to say, you need to go to this place. It's amazing. Why? Perhaps we want them to have a similar experience in a way that blesses them like it blessed you. Isn't that the way of walking with Jesus and how it's supposed to work? To know him and then go about telling others so that they too can experience a walk with the Lord. And then more of us have something to share, something in common and to talk about. That's also something that happens with that. Walking with Jesus always starts with faith. Romans 10:9-10 plainly says, if you declare with your mouth Jesus is Lord and believe in your heart that God raised him from the dead, you will be saved. For it is with your heart that you believe and are justified, and it is with your mouth that you profess your faith and are saved. Of course, we also know James chapter 2:26, faith without deeds is dead. Or as I like to say, faith that is lived out is a lie. But walking with the Lord is a lifestyle as well as a faith in Jesus, and that's what we come to today. I can remember years ago seeing things at the top of Yosemite Falls, signs rather, at the top of Yosemite Falls in languages telling us not to get near the edge of the rocks where the water is, the water feeding the falls, to stay away from those raging waters and even the wet rocks. The signs warned of slippery rocks because a wet rock, as we say in the hiking world, is a dangerous rock. So it warned you, if you fall in, you're going to die. And it said so in many languages. The signs were all over the way, and they were there to tell us of the dangers that also came with the beauty, so that those amazing sights could remain safe and remain something to experience and share. Likewise, walking with the Lord has boundaries too, that the law warns us about, right? A line that we don't cross. This is why Galatians 5:16-18 tells us this. So I say, walk by the Spirit, and you will not gratify the desires of the flesh. For the flesh desires what is contrary to the Spirit, and the Spirit what is contrary to the flesh. They are in conflict with one another, so that you are not to do whatever you want. But if you are led by the Spirit, you are not under the law. In other words, the law becomes that slippery rock. If you get too close or too far, you go in and you're swept away by God's holiness there. But if you stand back in those places where God is outlined as good, you'll get to experience some amazing things and know the Lord more fully. The point is, in all of this, especially this talk of spirit and flesh, is to keep us safe so that we remain walking with the Lord. To remain walking with Jesus also means walking with the Spirit. And one of the rules of hiking, of course, we mentioned the rock thing, because we don't want to slip and fall in our spirit either. Well, Our sin is a very slippery thing, and it has one purpose: to trip us up and to get us swept away by the raging cultural currents. But it's important that we stay on the trail that God has outlined. And when we do, we know, we experience, we see, and we walk with the Lord in what is godly and good. And we avoid a lot of ruinous things and deadly things if we do so. And what we gain instead are the heavenly blessings, such as the gift of marriage, for example. God's ways are always reflected in our motivations and in our choices. It's in our mindsets and in our actions especially. Walking with God is in our fruits. The fruits, you will know them, right? To walk with Jesus ultimately brings us to the most important place to see, our place in heaven. That's ultimately the mountain of the Lord, or the place of our God that we want to see. Isaiah 25, Revelation 7, 21, and so on. Jesus ultimately says in John 14, "In my Father's house are many rooms, and I'm going there to prepare a place for you. And I'm going to come back. And I'm going to take you to be with me so that you may be where I am." Right? The goal there is the same as any other goal of the Lord: to walk with him, not just here, but in eternity. May God bless us to walk with him more often and more fully every day. May God bless you. God bless you this week. And again, I'll see you next week, and I look forward to telling you about the bridge. Take care. Bye-bye.